Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah,
we got it. We got
New 52 book.
Somebody clip this.
Welcome to Comics League Indie Wednesday. I am Jared. I am here once again with Dolan. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. So let's chat. So you're here to promote your new book, Unholy Nightmare, which looks great, by the way. But first off, let me ask you. So, what comics have you been reading?
Oh, I'm people who if they don't know me, I'm always on Saturday mornings talking with Wes from Thinking Critical about the best comics of the week. So generally, I'm reading just about everything every week. Still trying to, but I will say this for this week. I read Transformers #1. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a blast reading that. I also read The Sacrificers #3 is just as good as issues 1 and 2. We finally get the twist in that. I'm reading one of the current ongoing titles I'm reading right now is World's Finest from DC Comics. I think that's the best title from DC right now. Right, and Sam is a close second. But and Moon Knight is another one. Incredible Hulk. Yeah, those are pretty much my favorites right now.
Yeah, for me, all right. So I read Tom King's Wonder Woman, and it's heavy-handed at certain points, but I mean, it's better than what Kloonrad was doing. So I'll take the, granted, maybe minuscule improvement, but at least the art is freaking awesome.
Yeah, Daniel Sampri's art. Yeah, his art is good. I'll give him that.
And that's the thing about Tom King books. He always gets like really gorgeous artists. So I'm like, okay, at least the art's going to be good. And even if the story's kind of weird.
Yes. Yeah. That you just hit the nail on the head. You know, granted, like, the story may be weird. It may be off. It may not make sense, but he'll have a great artist.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm about to read the new Captain America by JMS. I've heard that's really good.
Yeah, the first issue is good. First issue is really good.
Which it's been a while since we could say an issue of Captain America is good. Since
and I was talking to Maxwell Von Priestley, and I was talking to Wes. I told him it's been since, honestly, Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America since we've had a great #1 from Captain America.
Which, granted, again, it could all of a sudden just fall apart. So I'm not like rejoicing, because there are plenty of runs that started off great, but ended up being really crappy later on. However,
very true.
It's JMS, so he's a talented writer at the very least. It's not like they're putting Ta-Nehisi Coates on him again. Thank God. So it's like at least they have a capable writer, which again, from the big two, that's very rare nowadays.
Very rare nowadays. And yeah, like you said, it's a quality name. He is a well-established writer in all fields, TV, movies, and novels and comics. And he's written some great comics in the past, some that were questionable, some that weren't the best, which specifically during his Spider-Man era. But I believe most of those weren't his calls. Those decisions that were made, that was not his. Those weren't his calls.
To tell you a funny story, so what
he's a good writer.
So we did once for a buddy of mine. I made him read Sins Past on stream, and he had to do the voices and everything. And it was you could see him descend to madness. So the other thing I read that was incredible is Wolverine versus Predator.
Yeah, I'll say I think it was a solid good. The reason why I say that is because, granted, the art changes 3 times, and the middle story, I felt like kind of lagged a little bit in the middle. Like there are certain elements in that second story where we didn't need that millionaire guy having Logan find his kids or whatever. And the art, I'll be honest with you, the art in the third story, it sucked. It just felt like it peaked early on, and with I think it was Ken Lashley on the art, and then middle area with Greg Land, it was good. But the third, I'm like, oh, this is just, I could not stand this art. But overall, I'll say it was good.
Yeah, it's a fun read, and hopefully they don't like have such dramatic art shifts. But I do like how they do handle the whole Wolverine versus Predator concept, that like they've been hunting him since like his early origin days. So I'm like, actually, that makes a lot of sense. That of course they would try and come after him multiple times until they kill him. So I'm like, okay, that actually works really well. So
that absolutely makes sense to me.
And obviously, I've been enjoying Superman and Action Comics. I mean, you got Joshua Williamson and then Phil Kennedy Johnson. They're doing fantastic jobs. I wasn't that big of a fan of the Visaggio backup for Action Comics because there's too much stuff that's happening. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, so Superboy has red hair all of a sudden, and then like he's with Ms. Martian, even though they didn't really set that up. And it's like there's too much stuff they're throwing in there haphazardly.
No, that's not it. That's all Mags. That's all Mags inserting what they think should be the story, and it doesn't really fit in that story. They're very much pigeonholing an element into that character that doesn't work.
That, as far as I know, has never been a thing short of the Young Justice cartoon, and that's the only part where he's been with Ms. Martian. So I'm like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, like you said, a lot of it does not make sense. I just remember reading that section and trying to read it at least, and I'm like, none of this makes a lick of damn sense. This is not Connor. This does not make any sense. And I was sitting with a bunch of friends of mine, other writers and editors. I'm like, am I crazy or is this bad? And it didn't work.
Yeah, the other story that I think doesn't work is. Okay, I know people like the Dan Jurgens, like a black suit.
The Lee Weeks stuff. I love that stuff. I love it.
I love that. Here's my problem with the concept of that, and this extends to the Rebirth Lois and Clark book that they had. That's supposed to like talk about how, all right, so he's been here since the beginning of the New 52. Yet he never showed up when any of the big events happened, like Forever Evil, when the Justice League was believed dead, or when the Anti-Monitor showed up. I mean, you know what the Anti-Monitor is like. You fought him.
Yeah, and like I really think that story is there in place to really appease the John Kent.
Yeah.
Fans of his when he was a kid. It's really there to appease the fans of him when you at that age.
That's for you.
But like you said, I don't think they put much thought into that, saying like, okay, you're already saying Clark is here during the New 52 and all these events are taking place and he's not helping out at all. Are you kidding me right now?
I mean, the first arc I can believe because you saw, the Justice League has with the first Darkseid invasion. Oh, the Justice League has that. I don't have to step in. But the minute the Anti-Monitor shows up, I'm sorry, you fought the Anti-Monitor.
Yes. Yeah. He knows.
Your cousin was killed by the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah, and you're not going to step in? No, it doesn't work.
Which I understand, but besides that, ignoring that glaring plot hole, yes, I enjoy these stories for what they are because they're cool. First off, I like Superman with like a little grizzle on him, and the black suit just always looks good. And yeah, but that's about my only complaint with that. And then in terms of the regular Superman stuff, I like how they did something new by putting him in charge of like a corporation. So he has like an entire team behind him. Because the problem that I found with Superman is that they keep doing the same storylines over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. It's not bad. It's different. I really don't know how to think. I'm really still scratching my head with that because I don't know how I feel about it. But I did really like this latest issue. I thought that was one of the better ones. Finding that strange I don't know, super powered individual chained up underneath the,
Yeah,
I guess, Metropolis Harbor. I'm like, I like this. This is great.
that
And
was
the art
cool.
was terrific. I really want to see where they go from here.
Yeah, 100%. They're killing it on Superman, which at least Superman's good. I checked out of Gotham War from the very beginning. So I got a couple of the beginning issues for Batman Day. And the minute I see Batman fighting the Bat family that are siding with Catwoman and allowing crimes to happen, I checked out. I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. This is BS.
And I was talking, I forget who I was talking to yesterday about this. But we were saying how very much that Chip Zdarsky and Teenie Howard, the writers, they really want us, the readers, to really believe that Batman is the villain of the story.
Yeah,
and that Catwoman and everyone else are the heroes. And no, it doesn't work that way. I mean, even if your moral compass is slightly off, you know, you're still going to be siding with Batman because you know what his philosophy is, what his point of view is on all of this. That it doesn't matter what you're doing. Stealing is stealing. This is a crime. You're all criminals. You're all going to be taken down. That's how it is.
The only Bat family member that you could kind of make an argument for is Jason Todd. But besides that, I'm like, Dick Grayson siding with Catwoman over Batman. No,
Horseshit.
No,
I don't buy that for a minute. No.
I'm not buying that. No. The minute I see that, I'm like, I'm out. I'm checked. You know it's bad when only Damian Wayne is the only Bat family member that sides with him. The dude that's okay with killing people. Yeah,
the little shit is the one aside and taking the side. But yeah, it's like that very first part. And you see all the Bat family, they've all sided with Catwoman, and you're just left scratching your head like, wait, huh? This does not work. This does not make a lick of damn sense. They would never betray Batman like that, to side with Catwoman so she can have her own, more or less kind of like a new Amsterdam from The Wire, where she has like all the crime controlled in one area by her. It's like, no, it's still crime. It's still illegal. No, this does not make any sense.
It would be one thing, and I think I heard this on like a Comics of Aficionados once, if like Batman by accidentally kills someone, and then that causes them to go against Batman, but nothing has happened to where they could justifiably side against Batman.
Yeah, and the only thing that came close was the latest issue where like someone said like, "Oh my God, Batman put that woman in the hospital." I'm like, well, no shit. He's Batman. That's what he's going to do. He's going to put criminals in the hospital.
You're surprised?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're going up against Batman, who, by the way, has been operating in Gotham for years now, and you're surprised he puts people in the hospital. Wow. That's quite a head scratcher. But yeah, that's the only thing about Batman right now that I'm like not buying right now. Because I'm like, again, okay, Zdarsky's Batman was pretty good up until this point. And then I'm like, did you think this through? The answer is no, but did you think
I really think it shows that they had, I think part of the problem is we're seeing now that he and Teenie had two different stories. Chip wanted to tell one with Vandal Savage, and Teenie wanted to tell this one with Catwoman being the queen bee, cat burglar queen of Gotham City. And Chip or the Batman editor or someone at DC and said, let's put them together in one big event. But no, it doesn't work. But it clearly there's two different stories going on here. And one shockingly makes more sense than the other. And that's the one with the immortal caveman.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I like this story a whole lot more. Hey, what's up, Zachary Morris? So, yeah, there's that. But I will say, I did read today for the first time Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And I'm like, where was this? Everyone's, now I see why people have been telling me to read this book. Because I'm like, Daniel Warren Johnson, man. Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah, you know, my one is a good story. But my one problem with that, my one gripe, is that Wonder Woman is supposed to be the most beautiful woman on earth. That's who she's supposed to be.
Yeah, the art does not do her any favors in terms of her looking hot.
None at all. I mean, she does not look like Wonder Woman at all. And
none of the Amazons do, even the flashbacks to the Amazons when you think about it.
Yeah, it's like, it's a great idea, great concept, great story, but he chose the wrong character to lead this. It didn't work for me. That's not Diana.
Yeah, but besides that, I'm like, okay, it's the story wise, it's awesome, and
Yeah.
I could maybe
Yeah.
see them doing this as like an animated movie because that would be freaking dope. So let's get into it. So tell us about Unholy Nightmare.
Woo, Unholy Nightmare. So we're gonna go back to I think March with this. March this year, I'm working on like 3 or 4 different projects at the same time. And Aurelio Mazzara, the artist of Born of Blood 5 and 6, he suddenly made me his new best friend because he loved my scripts, and we were chatting every day. And he was sending me these different character designs, like every day, like all these characters that he wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I hope it happens. But then he started messaging me one day in March. I'm in the middle of a script, and he's like, I got an idea for these characters. We can bring them together for a team. And I'm listening. I'm reading his text. I'm thinking to myself, don't commit to anything. Don't say yes. Don't say yes. You're busy. Just talk to him. And we honestly talked about the characters and the story for probably hours. And
Really?
then after a few hours, I said, all right, I'm in. I think I got an idea for a story. And so yeah, we came up with Unholy Nightmare, which is currently on Kickstarter. You're able to sign up right now. It is a love letter to Image Comics in the 1990s, as well as to the 80s black and white horror comics, and
Here we go.
it has the high octane action that you want in a action comic from Image Comics
It
as
looks
well.
freaking good from what I've seen. It's like all the stuff that I saw when we were on Nerdette stream, but yeah, the art it definitely has that imagey like exaggeratedness, but exaggerated in a good way.
Yeah, exaggerated. Yeah, it's gonna be dynamic, action-packed, popping panels. Nothing is flat in this book. Nothing will be flat at all. So you're going to be blown away by how high octane this comic book series is. And I got to give a shout out to my team on this. First, like I said, Aurelio Mazzara, the interior artist, co-creator of this with me. This is pretty much spearheaded by him. And then we had Gene Jimenez. He's the colorist of the interiors. Gene that's the first page he did to the right, and he killed it. And I can't wait for him to color the rest. And we have Kel Natal. He's doing the lettering right now, and I love what he's got right there on that first page. But on the left, right there, that is another character we're going to be introducing in issue 2, if issue 1 is successful. That her name is Trinacria. She is coming from Italian lore, and apparently, like her design is kind of based off a symbol from the one of the Italian flags. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of mythology in this, a lot of Italian mythology that
that's awesome.
Aurelio has been catching me up on that I had no clue about.
Sweet. So all these characters pretty much are based on a character of mythology to an extent.
To an extent, yeah, 1 or 2 of them at least. So, like in the first issue, we're gonna have I showed you guys sent to you one. The main character is the Recluse. He's a combination of like Spider-Man and John Wick. Like imagine John Wick with spider powers in his in his 40s. Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
he has gun gauntlets.
Oh,
but like along the way, and about over halfway through in the comic, we discovered there may be something more to him, as well as to his friend and close friend Jenny, who is an undercover Chicago police officer, and there may be something more to her as well in that page. She may be a little bit more monstrous. But the quick elevator pitch of this is monsters fighting other monsters to save the world.
That's cool. I like that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Justice League Dark a little bit. I'm getting like those types of vibes in terms of like monster combat and all that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But the thing with Aurelio and I, it's like we're doing what we can. So there's not going to be a lot of standing around and talking. There's going to be a lot of action.
So it's not a book by Bendis, is what you're telling me.
No, it's not. There's going to be a lot of action in this, and that this first arc is going to be action packed. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. We still got to fund the first issue, but in this first issue, over half this book is kick-ass fight scenes in a warehouse between gang members and drug dealers and drug suppliers and our heroes who become monsters. And do they make it out in one piece? You're gonna have to back it, read it, and find out.
We'll certainly see. We'll certainly see. And I signed up for it before I hopped in here, but yeah. And I will say again, I said this when I had you on for Born of Blood. Here's a similarity between you and Tom King, and it's a good one. You always have fantastic artists on the books you write, dude.
I have been so blessed to have great artists, and honestly, if the art weren't this good, I would not be writing it. If Aurelio were not this good, I wouldn't be doing it. I couldn't have it in me, but he is so dedicated to this. He is living the dream right now. He's having a blast, and every page he's turning in is a banger. And it's so amazing because it's one thing when I think it looks great or he thinks it looks great, but when we start sending it to others like yourself or Nerdette or Maxwell Von Priestley or Aaron Sparrow or any family member, and they're like, "Oh my God, this looks amazing." I'm like, "Okay, there's something here." And I really think that there's something special here, and because I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't. But I love this. This is. I really hope we get to tell the remaining stories after this first issue, because what we have planned, the adrenaline, it's full throttle. It's going to be high octane all the way through.
Can't wait. And let's be honest, I'm sure it'll be successful because you have us to help you promote, and plus it's a really quality product. And I can tell you, as someone that has read his books before, they are awesome. So it's a win-win scenario if you back this stuff. So, and again, I'm just the cool part about it is that I said this actually the last episode you were on. The art matches the theme of the book, and this is my big thing. I always tell indie people is that when you're writing a comic, that the art should be like as gritty as the subject matter pretends. Which is why, like with Born of Blood, it was on point with that, and with this, because the way like darkness is portrayed here, it evokes the whole like theme of monsters, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely, and that's one thing that Aurelio and I wanted to get across. We wanted this to be a horror comic with superheroes, but with violence and gore. So you're going to get all of that because he and I, Aurelio and I, we both share, when we were working on Born of Blood, issues 5 and 6, mostly 6, we were sharing our love of horror movies. We love horror movies, and then we started talking about that stuff more and more. And then the superheroes. Then this came about. It's just like it's a combination for both of us. Oh, hey, there he is. There's Aurelio right there.
Yeah, what's up, dude? Great art, by the way. Fantastic art.
Yeah, Aurelio. Yeah, most of these characters were his idea, and and he had these sketches, and I was kind of there to just to flesh out the backstories for a lot of them and to come up with the story and the storylines. But if this wasn't for Aurelio, we wouldn't be doing this. And what's great is that we also have Murphy, who is running all. She since left Merc. Mm-hmm. But she is running this Kickstarter for us. That's nice. So we have the Merc Publishing Kickstarter runner heading this, and we are in great hands with her. She's got all these great ideas and great advice for us, to make this successful. And I'm October 31st isn't coming soon enough.
Heck yeah! If ever there's a fantastic point to be launching a campaign, it's October 31st for this type of subject material. But yeah, and what I'm getting here, and this is why I like having indie creators on the show, and this is why I think the product is so good, as opposed to like a lot of projects that come out of the mainstream, is that you can tell that this is done by passionate creators, which, like, if you look at like Hawk Girl, it's clearly not done by anyone that has a passion for the stuff for the source material.
Yeah, like you said, that's just it. A passion for the source material, a passion for the characters. There's nothing there in Hot Girl. I mean, that was all. That series is all about just pushing forward their own character. And it's because Hot Girl. Let's be honest, she's not the star of the book. It's Galaxy. Is that her name?
That pink that pink person with the demon horns that the writer claimed. See, that the writer wrote Batman in there to say, "Oh, she belongs here." You know, as soon as the writer leaves the book, that character's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you said, yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. Yeah, as soon as that writer's gone, that character's never going to show up again, along with her little corgi dog. Yeah,
exactly. I will say though, if you want a really good Hawk series, in addition to the Venditti stuff, read the Jeff Johns Hawkman run.
Absolutely.
That is solid.
Yeah, I had the omnibus for the longest time, and because and not just that, they had amazing artists working on that book. Mm-hmm. Amazing artists. From like Rags Morales to Ethan Van Sciver, I think Tim Truman, to many others working. Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, just great artists working on telling those tales throughout time, and I love that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like with this, it's like again, so what I always tell people, because I was being interviewed on a friend's channel the other day, and he said, "What's like a what would be like if you could give someone advice for anything on YouTube or like content creation in general, what would be the one thing you say?" And I said, just have passion for whatever you do, because if you have passion, success will follow that passion 100%. And it worked with Born of Blood. I'm sure it's going to work for this.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, the thing is with this, I mean, we're doing this on our own. Aurelio and I, we are on our own for this. There's no one backing us with this. It just I, Murphy running this, and the team we've put together. So we're really hoping that people who have backed Merc Publishing titles in the past, namely Born of Blood, that they will want to read more of what we got in store, what we have in store. And I'm keenly aware that horror comics are not really a big seller, for a lot of people. But I really truly hope they'll tune in for the superhero element of this, and as well as like the camaraderie we're building with the characters and potential love interests with the characters. Just there's going to be so many unique characters we want to bring in the next issues. Like we want to bring in a Golem. We want to just as an example for one, as well as Dracula as another. But we have so many different plot elements we want to get to. But I really hope people do check this one out.
That's fantastic. And so essentially it's a horror book, but it's a horror superhero book is what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just it's monsters being brought together to take down other monsters. And
real quick, just want to say thanks to Master Sergeant for the $5 super chat. Support for Indie Wednesday Live. Thank you. So as you were saying, Drew.
Oh, just because. I lost my train of thought there.
But the point is, what you're doing here is that first off, the superhero element is going to draw people in. Plus, you already have an audience of people that'll buy your stuff no matter what. So that's why I'm saying you should be good. I'm pretty sure this is going to be really popular.
I really hope you're right. I don't want to automatically assume it's going to be very successful, but I hope it is. And I think we're still planning to launch Halloween night on Nerdette's channel. Sweet. So that should be a lot of fun. And if anyone has any questions about it, I would love to answer some questions that you may have about it. But we have a lot of characters, a lot of stories we want to tell. We're already plotting. I already did a rough layout for the second story arc. I mean, the first story arc, it's pretty much all plotted out. The first 6 issues. And then the second story arc, we've already talked about like where we want to go with it, and it gets crazy. So I get so excited thinking about the stories I want to write. But first things first, issue number 1, making this successful. Yeah,
and I have a high degree of confidence, but particularly with like art like this, and then stuff like that. So we have so many, so much horror movies in common. So let me ask you guys this. So what like horror movies were like a big inspiration for this?
Oh, for this, there's been a lot. I mean, like the Wolfman was an inspiration. Dracula was another. I would say Reanimator was another. H.P. Lovecraft was a big inspiration for this. There's going to be some Lovecraftian elements in this. I'm not going to say what, but there may be one or two characters that show up. Not the big green guy, not Cthulhu. He won't be showing up.
I was about to say, I was like, okay, Lovecraft.
No Cthulhu. But there's a couple other elements we're bringing into this. And bringing in a golem from Jewish folklore, bringing in a Trinacria, and bringing in like a priest who is like he's a professional exorcist for the church, but he's gonna have a little backstory with Trinacria. When I don't want to tell that story yet, but I don't want to spoil it. But and I would say Lovecraft, the Wolfman, Dracula, and those were some of the strong elements, strong horror elements for this.
That's cool. Typically, I'm not like a big like horror movie fan. I mean, the horror movies that I have watched are probably like Aliens and Halloween, if Aliens counts. But I'll take it. But yeah, but I do. Ever since I started reading a lot of indie books, I do get into a lot of that like scary sort of elements and horror stuff. So I'm like, that's cool. And plus, I like a lot of these monster books. Probably why I read a lot of Hulk. So there you go. I'm also getting some Hulk vibes from what you're saying there. It's pretty dope. And so what can you tell us, but what can you tease the audience about like the characters on this page?
So on this page in particular, we have the wolf. She was her name is Jenny. She is a Chicago Police Department undercover police officer, and this all takes place in issue 1 during the middle of a drug exchange in Gary, Indiana, and the full moon naturally rises, and she, through one means or another, she turns into a wolf for the first time, and we have her someone close to her, the recluse up there. He's in the second panel, like, what is going on? Why didn't you tell me? What is wrong with you? And she sees a little gang member below her in that final panel that who tried to kill her, and she just says you. And let's just say the next panel, it doesn't turn out too well for him. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, the whole she reminds me a lot of Tigra from Marvel, and that the whole like police officer that turns into a furry creature.
Gotcha. Yeah, and we wanted to make her. We tried to make a plot point that to make it make sense how these two would kind of be working together. We just knew like one or two of them would be a cop, so we're like, okay, we'll make her the police officer for Chicago Police Department, just an undercover narcotics officer. But we're going to get more into her backstory eventually, how she was able to turn into a wolf. Maybe she was wearing something that was protecting her at one point that she decided not to wear when she was undercover that would give her away. That led to this transformation. But the recluse, like, there may be more to him, as I've shown in a couple of pages. He may be turning into a little bit of a monster himself. And there may be another person at the very end of this who's been overseeing both of them. See what they're capable of.
Now, the one thing I will say, I'm going to thank you guys for this, because my biggest pet peeve when it comes to werewolf-like characters is where they have them turn into actual wolves, a la Twilight. But no, it's more like this, where they turn into a half human, half wolf. So thank you for an actually accurate werewolf depiction.
Yeah, we did, and
it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah, and like I said, one of our big inspirations were those the 90s Image comics, where not when that wasn't just in Image itself, but in Marvel you had what was her name, Feral? I think she was one. She was just a sexy werewolf. And we wanted to do something very similar to that with her, but she's going to have blue fur. In this light, she's very illuminated by the moon, but she's going to have some blue fur on her.
I like that.
So, cool, yeah.
You can kind of see it in this bottom panel right here. and a horror superhero book in the way of Spawn and The Darkness. Yeah,
Yep.
if ever there were two Image books to be inspired by, it's Spawn and Darkness for this. Yeah, so that's awesome.
There we go.
But,
Yeah. Aurelio
but-
said it better than I could. He summed it up better than I could. Yes. Way of Spawn and
100%. And the thing about this, what I like about this, and this is why I started Indie Wednesday, because it's because. And Drew, I know you know this. I know you'll agree with me on this one. The big two tend to recycle the same story over and over again, the same ideas over and over again. Where with this, personally, I have never seen this type of idea before. So it's refreshing to see people actually doing new stuff.
Yeah, and what's great, I mean, one of my big inspirations on top of horror and stuff in the 1990s and from Image Comics was Mark Miller. I mean, I love Mark Miller, especially current day Mark Miller.
Oh,
I think this is the best he's ever been, and I love his type of storytelling. And I'm trying to really adapt that form of storytelling with this story. That you're not going to see what's coming. It's going to there are ramifications. There are big stakes. There are no low stakes in this. And you're not gonna have people sitting around eating and talking. It's not gonna happen in this.
Because there's too many books where I'm like, punch something.
Yes, yeah, exactly. There's gonna be a lot of punching, a lot of kicking, a lot of dismembering, a lot of arm and leg breakings, people getting shot up, a lot of monsters. It's gonna be filled with everything that you want to see in a comic. Stuff that's gonna be like, whoa, holy crap, they did that. What is that? A lot of the visuals that Aurelio and I have in mind, especially for issue 2, you guys are gonna be blown away.
Now the other question I have for you, and Aurelio, you can answer this too in the chat. What has been your favorite character to work on?
Just for me, in any way, I will say right now, honestly, I've really liked working on Recluse. He's been a lot of fun.
That's badass.
Yeah, because he's like my first attempt at doing a Spider-Man type character, but in a John Wick sense, but who's also a monster at the same time. And so that's been a lot of fun, and I like writing him. And honestly, the next character I'm looking forward to writing is the Golem. I really can't wait to start writing him, because I've already set up it. Like I said, if we are successful. And we're able to tell future stories, and we're able to tell origin stories. I already talked with a certain co-writer. It's a name you know. He's going to come on with me, and we're going to co-write the origin story to the Golem, and it is going to be a heartbreaker. It's going to be a tearjerker. Those two so far have been my favorites to write.
That's dope. And Aurelio says that there was an Anthony Hitchcock movie called Lethal Eclipse was an inspiration to make Jenny's character. That's cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, and again, I just love the way you see like her tattered clothes as she, like, for lack of a better term, wolves out. And it's like, again, because the thing that I like about the way some artists draw stuff is this singular image right here tells an actual story in and of itself really well, because you can tell, like, she obviously grew kind of like She-Hulk back when She-Hulk was cool, and essentially that's what all these do. In other words, if I took this, photoshopped it out of this page, and just put it on a static image, I could more or less understand what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and a big part of storytelling, especially in comics, is, granted, I mean, dialogue and caption boxes are very important, but the art should be able to tell the story as well. And I like to think Aurelio's doing a great job with that, telling the story through his art. And he's not shying away from the beautiful women, the badass guys, the violence, the blood, the guts, the monsters. I love it.
Yeah, and that's another thing I'll be thankful for. Thank you for actually having attractive women in books, because Lord knows that's really rare.
It is. And yeah, that's one thing that made him great about working on Born of Blood, 5 and 6. He made Giaris beautiful, and even Aurelia, the evil Queen Regent, made her a beautiful MILF, if you will. But I do like that sensibility he brings.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because we brought up your criticism for like Wonder Woman Dead Earth about you're complaining that being that Wonder Woman's not exactly drawn the most beautiful, but arguably since like Tom King, maybe Tom King is like the most recent example, but like that's when I think she's been drawn the most attractive. In other words, when drawn by Daniel Sampere.
Yes, I would say, yeah, recently, yeah. I mean, even in the Clooney and Conrad stuff, she was okay looking,
She was
but I
okay. I
mean,
mean, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I would say this is the best she's looked in a very long time.
Which again, that's why I still get stuff by Tom King, because if that, like we said before, if the story's bad, I'll still get a pretty good looking book. So there you go.
Yeah,
It's
it's one
still
thing.
a
Yeah,
great
if you
man
can't
show.
stand the story, at least check out the art. You'll enjoy it.
It's pretty good. And so going off of this, so another character, but a character that I think this guy reminds me a lot of is the X-Men Warpath. Particularly in terms of like the face mask.
Gotcha. I can kind of see that, but I will say when I'll try to send you a clearer design of his costume.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see like because there is kind of, I guess you can see there's kind of a Warpath element to there, but you'll see there's more Green Hornet, Spider-Man, or the Spider inspired from his in his costume.
Yeah, 100%. I think Aurelio brought that up here about how Recluse, he's also inspired by Paul Pierre's like the Spider and the Hornet. So there you go.
Yeah.
But and again, I like how you're not even like shying away from the gore, which even coming from Born of Blood, you've never really done that. You're like, nope, we're gonna show some people getting hurt in this. And
yeah,
like,
and
yes,
yeah, not just her, but dismembered and everything. And like, look, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. When I was a kid, when I was 12, 13, 14, this is a comic I would have loved to read. You know, just people just superheroes, monsters kicking ass, you know, blowing people away, snapping necks. This is a comic I think teenagers and adults will very much enjoy.
I mean, hell, in Born of Blood, you have Giaris cut a guy's balls off.
Yeah, I did.
I'm
I went there.
There you go. But I'm like, see, that's the other thing that DC we ought to do. How about an actual R-rated Wonder Woman book where there's actually blood and gore and dismemberment because she uses a sword? You'd think it'd be more common.
I think after the Batman Damned, I don't think they'll ever unfortunately do that. I think that really all the plans they had for the Black Label, everything they wanted to do, that the Batawang nixed it.
We're lucky we got Dead Earth, I guess, but and then pretty much pretty much first off, Black Label became Bat Label, and then it turned into essentially just put any book where we're not sure where it fits, and then if it's popular, we'll just make it main continuity. But that's pretty much how that works. So yeah, the book looks great. I'm super excited to check it out. And Aurelia says, I love Jenny. And of course, Recluse. Yeah, both of them look freaking awesome. They look like those Image characters from the early 90s. And I noticed a lot of, and I noticed that's been on, that sort of style of characters has been on the resurgence, probably because, like I said before, a lot of mainstream characters aren't drawn like superheroes anymore.
No, they don't have that. I mean, look, there's a reason why they're superheroes, because they're supposed to be an over-exaggeration to them.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about telling comic books in a story like this. You can have those exaggerated characters and exaggerated stories. And that's what the stories we wanted to tell, you know, heightened reality. Just stuff that's, that, I mean, because I find it, if we went lower than that, why are we here? Why are we telling the story?
Exactly. And it's like when people complain that like Wonder Woman doesn't have a realistic body figure, or like the Amazons don't have realistic bodies. And I'm like, that's the point.
Yeah, it's like they're fictional characters. I want to do the hand sign from James and Bob Strike.
Wait. I can do you one better.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters. fictional characters.
There you go. I gotcha.
I love it. Yes.
That's the first time anyone has teed me up so well for that clip. But yeah, essentially that. You're not talking about realistic portrayals of people. We're talking about, in Wonder Woman's case, someone that's the daughter of Zeus.
Daughter of Zeus lives on an island filled with other beautiful women, immortal women. That's
That are all warriors. That's why
they're all
like
warriors. Yeah.
That's why, like in that one Future State Wonder Woman book, when they had like an overweight Amazon, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense based on the established lore.
No, not at all. No, it's like she would have been dead like in the first year she was there.
I'm just like, okay, I get that you want to encourage bye-bye history, but keep it consistent with the lore of the book that you're putting. That's my problem. When they try and make changes to stuff, when they change established lore with stuff that would directly contradict the established lore.
Yes, and that does, because it fundamentally changes the island forever. And this is supposed to be a paradise island filled with, for argument's sake, perfect women who are beautiful and warriors at the same time. I like to think Zack Snyder's Justice League, his cut, at least from what we saw, those women were beautiful and they were warriors. That's the way I saw them.
I'm telling you, I would love to see a Zack Snyder Amazon movie, because it'd pretty much be 300. Because when you think about it, the Amazons are the DC version of the 300 Spartans. It's pretty much or the closest approximation. So I'm just like, yeah, they're warriors. Granted, they have the peace element, but they're also ridiculously trained warriors.
Yes, they're not afraid to cut someone's head off on a whim.
And speak of the Snyder Cut, Wonder Woman did that at the end of the movie. So I'm like, there you go. But it just really annoys. By the way, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you heard this. There was a story. So when Gal was first cast as Wonder Woman, there were people complaining about her breast size to be Wonder Woman, believe it or not. So the way she responded is, okay, so a lot of that stuff can be fixed with surgery, but let's examine that. You're aware that the Amazons only had one breast, so that would be pretty problematic for me.
Yeah, because for archery, they cut off the one breast for when they were doing the bows. But honestly, I couldn't care less. But how they made it, how they pulled it off in the armor and everything else, it worked for me. It was fine.
It looked, and plus she bulked up significantly for that role. She used to be a lot more thin, and you can tell she also got an acting coach, because I've seen her like in the early Fast and the Furious movies, and I'm like, yeah, her accent got a little better.
Yeah, she's just there for as just to look pretty.
Well, there you go. Well, yes. She, and then I'm like, they brought her back. How? She jumped off a car going 90 miles an hour. Then I remember it's Fast and the Furious. And I'm like, well, that explains. It's the power of family as she falls down. But
how there hasn't been an Olive Garden tie-in yet, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how they haven't gotten that yet. Yeah,
I'm just like, there you go. By the way, that's an interesting crossover that I would love to see if they could somehow make that work, is a Predator and a Wonder Woman book.
I could see. That makes sense. I could see that absolutely. Like, it'd be a great Elseworlds story to tell. How the Themyscirans have arranged, to train their warriors with the Predator alien race. Like once a generation, they would come to Earth, or the Themyscirans would go to their planet, in exchange. And to test their warriors.
They could even do it where like the Out just send a predator to hunt like the greatest warriors. They drop them on Paradise Island, and then all of a sudden it's like Diana hears like all these Amazons are disappearing. She walks in. It pretty much turns it into the Predator movie, but with all women with like swords and shields.
Yeah, and maybe we reveal that that Paradise Island was actually originally discovered by the Predators.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah. See, they did Batman Predator, and they did Superman versus Aliens, which was actually way better than I thought it was going to be, by the way. But it's like they have all this potential. Granted, now that Marvel owns the publishing rights for Predators, they probably can't cross over with DC anytime soon. So I'm like, damn it. But
I don't know. Judging by these sales numbers, it might not be a bad idea.
Might not be about. See, what's really funny is that based upon the sales numbers of both companies, I would not be surprised if they announced like a crossover between Marvel and DC just to like pump up sales. I would.
The
not
fact
be
that they're
surprised.
doing a Justice League versus King Kong
I
versus
know.
Godzilla comic, it's like, okay, we're getting to that point. We're only several months to a year away from them, crossing over again.
Which, by the way, I am getting that Jim Lee cover of Batman in the Pacific Rim mech punching Godzilla in the face. I want that.
Yeah, it's a badass visual. Yeah, I will
It
agree
is
with
so,
that.
and that's the one crossover I did not see coming like a mile away. I was like, okay, but what's Godzilla going to do against Superman?
Yeah. Like you said, like I don't think any of us saw this coming, and I really think that should have been, if they had made that their summer event and not the Night Terrors.
Oh yeah,
it'd been great.
Because when you think about it, Night Terrors would do better in October.
Yes.
So I'm like, what do you do? But and that works better because it's like a summer blockbuster. But I'm just like, well, the point is, I'm definitely going to read it because I want to see how Godzilla fights Superman. Because I'm like, that's actually a really interesting idea. Even though Superman could probably take out Godzilla. My theory. There's been a theory around Comics League that somehow he's going to be infused with kryptonite.
We'll see. I'm very curious to see what the power levels are going to be like. I haven't had a chance to read the PDF yet, but I'm very curious to see what the power levels are going to be like with Kong and Godzilla and the Justice League. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and this gets back to one of my things. My favorite DC books have historically been the Elseworlds books for this reason, is that you can tweak a little bit to make it like to make very interesting stories like that and like Batman Predator and all that. So I'm like, okay, this might actually be pretty good. So I'm excited. So Drew, before I let you go, let everyone know where you can be reached and where to find the campaign. And I have the link over here.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Dolan Waddick, or you can find me on Instagram. It's Dolan_Waddick. And the campaign is Unholy Nightmare. Unholy Nightmare #1 specifically. It's on Kickstarter. You type that in. It should be the first one that comes up. You'll see the original inked page, what we showed earlier with Jenny and Recluse on the page. I do encourage everyone, if you Born of Blood, you will love this. If you love Born of Blood, you're really, really going to love this. Aurelio and I, we've worked incredibly hard to tell a kick-ass story here that everyone's going to enjoy. And we have Murphy, who stole away from Murphy in this for us. And she's got some great ideas, a lot of great ideas. She's helped set this up for us. She's amazing. We have a great team in place with Kel Natal, Gene Jimenez, and you guys, this is gonna be worth every penny, every dollar you got. But yeah, Halloween night we launch. We're gonna be on Nerdette's channel with a live stream.
Heck yeah, I'll try and show up there. So on that note, before I wrap us up, just want to remind you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and to become a member of Comics League, because we have so many great member benefits like exclusive videos, like what am I reading for October. So on that note, everyone, like, comment, subscribe, and by the way, Dolan, thank you for coming on the show again. You're always welcome.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on again. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime, dude. So stay heroic, everyone. We will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.